Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the post-show live chat, where we're going to be talking about everything that went down in this latest episode of The Bachelorette, Week 4. How's everyone doing tonight? It's me, Bachelor Fan Take, and we've got a lot to talk about. Some major villain moments, a new possible villain in the making, someone switching from one team to another, and a lot of weird French stuff. So, but before we get into that, of course, we got to go over the rules for the chat. For those of you who might not have been here before or are new to this live stream, this post-show live discussion of everything that went down, the first rule is, number one, please no spoilers. Of course, anything that is sleuthed out from the previews, hopefully we'll be able to do some of that tonight as well. Sleuth out the latest preview as long as it comes out on time. And if you're wondering what that means, no official spoiler, no blatant spoilers, but anything from an official account, the Bachelorette page, or from the previews, or from the actual footage from the show, totally welcome. Number two, I'll try to respond to as many comments as I can. Of course, super chats will get priority. And number three, be kind to each other. We don't want to have to lay the banhammer down or anything like that. So we got a jam-packed episode that was really upsetting for Rachel, where we saw her get upset at the guys while on Gabby's date. The guys weren't paying attention to her when they were just, audience members on her date, on Gabby's date. It wasn't even her group date. I don't know how I feel about that, because on one hand, I don't think they really did anything wrong, but I don't know, maybe there was a bunch of stuff that led to this. So who am I to say? But definitely unsure about that. But what was bad was all the stuff Hayden said, and the Logan blindside that's to come. And Asia, welcome back to the chat. Thank you for the super chat. I feel really bad for Rachel. Agreed. She can't catch a break. A very emotional episode. I want to talk about Eric. I feel like his face was unreadable. I feel like a bunch of the guys have are very like low energy, non-reactive. And not just Eric, but this episode, both the one-on-one dates, Tino and Jason. Tino and Jason, and I didn't know, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Is that a warning sign? I don't think it's necessarily a warning sign when someone's just more chill, and that's just the way they walk through life. And I think there's a lot of good stuff, on both of those dates and the connections there. But both guys, a lot of guys this season kind of lower energy. But last week, I know a lot of people talked about on Eric's one-on-one, there was some weird editing going on, where he had that moment where he was just, like, Gabby was talking about her mom or something like that, and something she brought up with Jason this week as well. I wonder if that's going to... It'd be exhausting if she's going to have to bring this up on every one-on-one, talk about her relationship with her mother. It's tough to talk about all the time. But like they just had this weird moment before Gabby got up and walked away, where it just like looked like he was staring at her or something. I think that was editing to make it seem way more dramatic than it was. So I guess there was an editing factor that could be involved in all of this as well. Maybe uncomfortableness in front of the camera. Jason did say he was a very private guy. And Maria Hernandez, thank you for the super chat as well. Meatball survived super gross group date that Rachel had. Yeah, with Hayden Ruda's AF. Logan digging his own grave deeper and deeper. Thoughts on the season so far? So definitely, I think we're seeing both women getting the short end of the stick with the double Bachelorette thing. Meatball survived. Not surprised by that. The math was there's only a couple of guys that could go, and I had a feeling that the Hayden was going, which we saw because of everything he said, and maybe the snitching was gonna buy Meatball another week. He's not gonna go the distance. He's only got so much before his expiry date is up, but bought him another week. And as well, there were other guys like what is this? I can't even remember his name. It's Jordan, I think, who went home from Rachel's side. Like this guy, apart from night one, he was in no footage whatsoever. So I thought he's good. He's good to go. But definitely we're seeing the short end of the stick for both women. Just not enough time. Like, even Gabby's date Rachel came on, and suddenly Gabby's group date became about Rachel. But less men for each one. I think it's tough. They're not getting the full experience. Sort of like what Tayshia got, but at least she was the only Bachelorette. Yeah, that's sort of my thoughts on the season so far. It's tough to watch that, but very interesting from a sleuthing standpoint, I will say. And to see you again, thank you for the super chat. When he was on the date with Gabby, and I'm not saying I don't like him, I just wish that he showed a little bit more emotion. I definitely both men, but certainly Jason this episode, Eric as well. I don't know if that's just their personality or what, but it's weird to watch some of these dates, like when you've sleuthed through the previews. Like we've gone through, and now we know for sure. So we've got a better timeline for the season now that we know that they have gone to Europe this early. It's only episode 4. I think episode 4 in Clayton's season, they were still in LA. It was in episode 4 in Clayton's season. They had that group date with Shanae and the football stuff where they did the tackling, and then Shanae threw at the after party, she threw the trophy in the pond. So they were still in the States. Episode 4, I guess, because their things are rolling here. They're in Paris already, but it gives us a better idea. Like, we know that there's at least one more location that they go to from in Europe, and probably another one after that as well. We know that they're in Amsterdam at some point. Might be right before hometowns. Maybe they do a hometown episode a week early. So again, they're cutting things short, but they're doing a hometown episode a day early so that they can have 2 episodes, one for Rachel, one for Gabby. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Because it looks like they're doing 4 people for each hometown. That's the plan, at least, because we've kind of sleuthed all this out, that at least a few guys are getting a hometown. But here, Amsterdam, I even grabbed a confirmation landmark photo. This from the previews in Amsterdam. We can see this. That's the location they're going to be in. I don't know if it's next week. Based off of the photo at the other end there with Nate, looks like it's a sort of breakup photo. It's the same time. I would guess this is maybe a couple episodes down the line. It's not going to be like next week or anything like that. We would have seen it in the preview for next episode as well if this happened. But you can see sort of Gabby's matching earring and jacket there in this shot with Nate. And if you've been watching my videos, I've theorized that this is a breakup moment between the two, probably because Gabby has realized that she is not ready to be a mom. And she's being honest with Nate about that. And it's super devastating because Nate has been awesome. He's been one of the, gems of the season. In a season where, we're talking about guys who are, low energy. Rachel's talking about her guys not being as enthusiastic about her. Some duds, a guy named Meatball, even though he snitched out Hayden, stuff like that. And we'll talk about, Hayden's comments about his dog and things like that, which was really weird for me. Nate's been an absolute gem. and Gabby knows it, so I think that's devastating for her. But yeah, but I think the original thing I was talking about, going back to Eric and all these guys, low energy guys, we know that they are going to be finale guys, end game guys, because we've seen, we've got the European locations, then it's going to be hometowns, and then we still have to go to this place, this Mexico tropical location, and we know we've got Avon, we've got who looks to have his one-on-one next week, Avon, Tino, Eric, these guys, more shots of them here. This Eric again with this crying Gabby footage, more Avon, stuff like that. We know that Zach, we've sleuthed out, he's getting a hometown as well. Also, I found this shot here from the previous. I was just kind of combing through earlier last week, and I just wondered, this shot right here, because it had the airplane. I know they talked about both of them, like their dads took them to look at airplanes when they were kids. I wondered if he does the same. Anyways, watching these guys, it's low energy, but it's weird for me because I know they make it far. So I don't know if it skews my my viewing experience, I guess. It's my long-winded way of getting to that point, but I wonder. And Kaleidosaurus, welcome back to the chat. Good to see you back. Tonight was the first night I was able to watch live yet, and then my network showed a debate instead. Been missing the lives, but loving the sleuthing. Thanks so much. Glad you can make it to this one. Hope to see you again. Hopefully next week no no debates instead of the Bachelorette. But thank you for the super chat. Glad you're enjoying it. And Becky David, thank you as well for the super chat. Hayden got what he deserves. So happy these girls aren't putting up with these guys' BS. Last week and this week, they put them in their place. Well, yeah, so speaking of Hayden, I felt so awkward watching this this episode because obviously Hayden, complete idiot. And last week and this week, complete idiot. And then he comes up with this dog story, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking what's happening to this dog. Very, questionable as well. Like I saw other people commenting like, if your dog is this sick, why have you left? Why did you leave? If you quote love this dog and you hope that Rachel, finds someone who loves her as much as your dog loves you, which is what he said at the end, or I'm paraphrasing, but why leave? Why leave? So it felt so gross because they had these scenes where he's talking about his dying dog. And, I have 2 dogs, and it's like that hits a bone with me. Pun not intended. That strikes a chord. That hits me deep. Hearing stuff like that. But then he's also an ass. So I just made me feel gross watching all of that. Make me I don't know. Feel horrible for the dog. Glad to see Hayden go. I think. So, good that he's gone. But I mean, yeah, and he's another one gone. How are they going to do it? Like, we're really getting down to the wire with guys. We got rid of 2, so it was 9 and 9. So it'll be 7 and 7, and one's potentially swapping over. So it'll be 6 for Rachel. Logan's potentially swapping over to Team Gabby. I don't know if in the preview it's actually him. Being accepted into Team Gabby. We saw him kind of like sitting down with the other guys, and they're like, "What the heck is going on?" Because sometimes the show can do the thing where they go, "Okay, we'll have you enter while Gabby's still deciding," and they can kind of use that footage however they want. 6 guys is right to hometowns. How many episodes left are there? Can there be? Only so many eliminations. We're getting right down to it. And And Flaky Gaming, thank you for the super chat. Really, really appreciate it. As a French person and longtime watcher of the show, that romance group date was the stupidest date they've ever done on this show. P.S. Nate for Bachelor, love you, fan take. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, Nate would be a great one. We'll see. We'll see. He's gonna make it. It's weird because I feel like he's gonna based off of this shot. We've talked about just earlier, it seems like he makes it far, because right before hometowns is usually like a kind of safe spot to be in the mix for Bachelor. But like I said before, if we're getting right down to the men and we're going to hometowns with 8 dudes, there's going to be a lot of competition for that Bachelor spot. But definitely Nate is one of the gems of the season and should absolutely be in consideration for it. We'll see. I don't trust the Bachelor people's decision making all the time, especially when it comes to the Bachelor. They fumble the ball a lot when it comes to the Bachelor. And I don't know if you're actually if you're from France, but I can tell you I felt that same way when they were in Toronto as a Canadian, and sometimes when they do the Canadian hometowns or stuff. Especially when they were in the bubble season and they couldn't actually go to Canada for hometowns. The Canadian, vibes they were trying to put out were a suspect at best. But, yeah. I feel you on that one. And I could feel that date was something else. And AJ... thank you so much for the super chat as well. Rambo was at home. Rambo, if you don't know, is Hayden's dog. Rambo was at home with his ducky toy. Very sad. I know. It was so awkward. Like I just know I would not have gone on the show if it were one of my dogs. I'm not trying to, judge people's decisions, whatever. I'm just saying. I'm thinking about it right now. I would not have gone, if he was that ill. And Sia again, thank you for the super chat. Do you think that Gabby is going to reject Logan? Rachel's group date was gross. Yup. And so bad that it was funny. I couldn't get over the guys flirting with Rachel. Yeah, I think my favorite part was, it was like Jordan, who was eliminated this episode, going, "Kiss me," and she goes, "No." No. Or the what was the graphic, the La Havre strangler for Zach. Zach's gonna do fine though. He's gonna do fine. But do I think that Gabby is going to reject Logan? I'm not sure. Like I said before, she's definitely gonna consider it, because we see Logan show up in the previews with the other men, and they're all like, "What's going on?" We know he sits down to talk with at least Rachel, but the preview footage, they tried to make it look like he's talking with Gabby, but we don't know for sure. I can't say with 100% certainty, but my gut is that no matter what, he's not going to last very long. I would hope that at this point, Gabby's gotten to know some of the men to a point where she feels much more comfortable with the ones she's already got, and she also is aware that Rachel is struggling, and so she decides no. But we will see. If the swap does happen, it won't last long. Logan's not going to be making to a hometown. I really want Gabby to just outright say no, but can't say with 100% certainty. Still, he's going to go home soon. And let me just make sure, gotta catch up with chat here. Make sure I don't miss any super chats. Think Story, Welcome to the chat. Thank you for the super chat. Sending lots of love from Derby. Thank you so much. Send in love right back. Glad to see you in here, even though I know you're probably not able to moderate tonight, but I really, really, really appreciate the super chat and saying hi to everybody. And Becky David, doggy cam shot. No, doggy cam. So Bob, my dog Bob, sometimes he shows up. This is Bob. He had surgery last month, and that's why he's got his fur all gone there. He's not around right now because we were driving a bunch today. I had seen some of my family this weekend for the first time since the pandemic, some of my extended family, and so we were driving all day to get back from that, and so he went to bed immediately. So, but he did get his cone off and his stitches done. So, I'm hoping next week Bob will be ready. And AJ, thank you for the super chat. Jason/Gabby bonding over the struggles felt real. Yeah, I think it was it was good. Like, he came out talking about, being honest about his journey, his therapy and stuff like that. I think that's probably something that Gabby was very receptive towards wanting, to hear stuff like that from the guys, feeling comfortable in that. Probably made her a bit more comfortable to talk about her mom. So I think that I agree. They connected on that, and I think we know Jason's a long-term guy, most likely. And Ryan, thank you for the super chat. Do you think Jason scored enough points with Gabby to be a top 2? I would never leave my cats for a girl. Yeah, well, at least it's a little bit of a different situation than with Hayden, but I think so. We've when we're talking about Gabby's top 4 guys, we've got it down to, these men are all in the mix right above me here. Nate, we've talked about before being, you would think he was an automatic top 4, but we know that there's some sort of devastating thing that happens in Amsterdam, and they've already hinted in the show before about Gabby potentially not being ready to be a mom, but she didn't want to think about that quite yet. She wanted to work on just their base connection. Then there's Jason, who's in the previews. Then Johnny, and we know he's got a hometown date. Some of the viewers from my preview breakdowns were watching, and they had sleuthed out this location in the middle right here as being in Florida, where he's from. And then Eric in this tropical location. We know it's a Final 3 location at this endgame location. So there's Jason. How do you compare him to the other men? I haven't seen anything from Johnny to make me think he's in any way a Final 2 guy, based off of the edit he's gotten so far. So I don't feel confident in saying he's a top 2 guy. Again, Nate, no, based off of the everything I said before, the crying shot. And then there's Eric, who, he's the other guy. So, really, when it comes down to it, the only 2 men that I feel comfortable saying are in the top 3, top 2, potentially, at this point, are Eric and Jason. But Eric has a few shots that make me wonder, is there something bad coming? But this could also be, a red herring. Like, this shot right here, we've talked about before, people in the chat had said this could be, simply one of those shots where it's like a Final 2, and, they've had their last date and they're just anxious because it's the last time they'll see each other before the final rose ceremony. So it's really a tough one to say. Definitely my Jason pick right now is more of a process of elimination pick. Who do I feel the I guess it's not even who do I feel the most comfortable saying, but it's who do I feel the least uncomfortable saying. I don't know how this sentence is supposed to be said, but the least uncomfortable talking about as the final pick. And it's like barely Jason at this point. And I think this season, with how few men we've got, I know that like it started off with the largest amount of guys, but there are 2 bachelorettes and they each get their own teams now. With how few guys there are so quick, the math is just kind of making it easier to cut down. And so that's why Jason to me is a top 2 guy. Top 2 guy. Even though it, like, normally in a season, if it were a different season, a more typical season, I think it would be harder to say that. But this season, because of the way it's worked, I'm still thinking yeah. And Anna, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. What do we think about Rachel saying she felt more secure with Clayton because of the attention he gave her? Yikes. Yeah, that was a yikes moment. I don't know who I feel worse for in that moment, the guys or Rachel. Yeah, that was maybe said in the heat of the moment, I think. I don't know, because do you, maybe she's just thinking of the good stuff and not of all the times where, like Clayton dumped her or said he was in love with all the other women after, saying it to her and all that stuff. Weird moment. I think we will be moving past it. I think she will find she's got guys that she's going to be really connecting with. This episode we saw her with Tino. I don't think she'll be saying she still means that if we asked her now or if we ask her at the end of the season. I think it was a dramatic moment. We often say when we're feeling like crap, which I think she was at that time. Yeah, definitely one I clocked as oof. So, all right. And I think I've caught up with the super chats. Thanks everybody for chatting, super chatting, and everything like that. But yes, so we saw the elimination of, who was it, Hayden and Jordan. I think it was Quincy as well. Quincy and Mario got a rose, and Kirk. Quincy and Kirk. So those are the 4 men we've gone down from 18 to 14, 7 guys each, I believe, and with one potentially swapping over, and really it's, I think, doesn't matter. Logan's gonna go at some point. That's one last. We'll be down to 13. Michael got a rose? I don't know if you can, if we even know who Michael is. Michael right here. Michael, this guy. Because he was still around, I think. It's so confusing this season. But he's got no screen time. He's gone. We'll be down to 12 guys. That's another one for next week. Here, let me see if we can go through. I know this is the full cast of guys who's still around. Spencer is someone who maybe can make a jump for right before hometowns. He got some good screen time. Spencer right here, but he's definitely not going to be getting a hometown date. Avon's safe. Ethan's another one. Yeah, so we could talk about for Rachel, Ethan and James Meatball. There you go. Logan for Gabby, and Michael's a Gabby guy. That looks like, I think, a good 4 for next week to get us down to what would that get us down to? Was that like 10 guys? And then we're right at hometowns, basically. Or maybe they do more. I have no idea. This season, not conventional. But Bachelor Data has a contestant guide on our Instagram. That's helpful. I know. We need a guide this season, especially with the rules being so totally different. I'm just going to double check to see also if the preview is up. They have been really good to us the last few weeks. Oh yes, they do. It looks like they got it up. It's been so nice. I feel like last season the previews when we would do the live sleuthing on these post show chats would happen like way at 11 o'clock. Sometimes they didn't happen at all. This season they've gotten them out nice and early, and it's a real treat for us. So we're gonna switch to do a little bit of live sleuthing, a little bit of live reaction to the preview that came out at the end of the episode. As I say every time, watch out, because this is just the live reaction. We're gonna get into the bigger deep dive, going through all the previous sleuthing stuff, going into detail on what's going on in the preview breakdown coming out Wednesday. That's where all the big detail stuff. But this is going to be the first impression. See what we can figure out right now here. A little bit of live sleuthing. So I'm going to get on my big ol' headphones and see if we can look at this preview. And you already note the title here, in Belgium. So Belgium next week, which would mean Amsterdam the week after, and I think we're at hometowns. So I think we're doing Belgium, Amsterdam, and that's hometowns, and then we're off to the tropical location. But let's take a look at this trailer, this preview.
Next week on The Bachelorette.
I feel like I'm riding a high, being here in Bruges, Belgium. Do you like it? I am just so excited to see where things go.
So there's next week is the Johnny. We know this is Johnny. We've talked about it before in the preview breakdown for the season preview, and in the first look preview. This tattoo is Johnny's. We've seen it before. Here, it's on this right here, the same in the middle on the left. Johnny's getting a one-on-one with Gabby. Here, group date. There's Michael. This is the most like preview footage of Michael there's ever been. He's earmarked for an elimination. Maybe then it's a toss-up. We've got Spencer, Mario. That's if they're doing 2 eliminations next episode for each Bachelorette. Who knows what the rules are? But eventually the math kind of has to work out to 4 and 4, you'd think. But we'll see. But yeah, there's Belgium and Amsterdam after that. This looks like group date and maybe rose ceremony. Looks like they might be back on the cruise here. We'll see. There's the evening portion of Johnny's date. Hayden getting the other one-on-one.
I've seen you smile. At the end of the day, when we look at each other, we just know that we want to be together.
You make all this so easy.
I feel so happy.
Oh, we're about to get to the drama. But before we get into that, Avon's one-on-one. Tino, we know they're into each other. This looks like cruise ship. Tyler, his stock is rising. We know he's getting a hometown as well. We were able to figure out that the shot there at the bottom is in New Jersey, where he's from. He talked about working on the boardwalk And in one of the preview breakdowns, we were able to take that info and turn it into a hometown date by locating the background where he's at. But also here, they highlight Ethan. And this is... I'm wondering now if Ethan's for sure going to go next episode. Because Ethan really, really hasn't been involved in the season all that much. He's had a few like reaction shots, a few little tiny moments, but never really highlighted. This is the first time he's being highlighted, but perhaps there's a reason. Perhaps he needs to be highlighted when he gets eliminated. There needs to be some drama at the end of the episode. People need to understand that he's a person who exists on this show when he doesn't get a rose and gets upset. Possibly. Just because we know that there's just no room in Rachel's top group of guys for Ethan. There's just not enough for him. Even though we're potentially getting down to six Rachel guys. We'll see. And maybe next episode, because we've got this Logan potential swap over, and Rachel loses a guy, maybe she doesn't have to send anyone home. Or maybe she only has to send home one guy because of that. And then Gabby has to send home an extra, or she just boots Logan. But I don't know. It's so unusual to see all this screen time for Ethan out of nowhere. Makes me apprehensive. But let's get into the Logan stuff.
I care about Rachel, but I can't put my initial feelings for Gabby aside.
This is humiliating.
Yeah.
Humiliating.
What is going on?
It's a huge wild card.
Is Gabby question?
A little bit of lag there. But, so, yes, here we go. Let's take a look. Let's see. This is a group date, maybe? I wonder if we can figure that out. Nobody's got a rose on, and there's a rose on the table. So this is definitely a group date that he's going to be crashing. Now, we've seen Logan in this outfit telling someone that he wants to swap to the other side. Originally in the preview, it was him talking with Gabby. But that was a fake out. Gabby's actually in the shot that they used in the preview. She's wearing this, and we know now she's talking with Rachel. Also at the time, we didn't know what team he was on. So him saying he wanted to swap sides to Gabby made sense to us because we didn't know that he was a Team Rachel guy. But now, I think we can safely speculate that him having that conversation is with Rachel. And, obviously she talks about it looks like, with Gabby. But maybe there's no decision about, is he going to stay or not? And production just lets him come to the group date to see if there's chemistry there. But I don't know. No matter what, Logan's going to be eliminated soon. The tough thing is there's still some guys left that have no chemistry, no screen time with Gabby, that it's possible she keeps him around. He becomes a producer pick. But yeah. It looks like no matter what, whether this is a Logan decision to crash this group date, a Gabby decision, or a production decision, we're going to get some kind of interaction where he shoots his shot with Gabby. If he stays around, it won't be long. I guarantee you that. But it'd be pretty funny if he got that group date rose.
It's a huge wild card.
Is Gabby questioning her connections with the rest of us?
That's what's kind of going through my head.
Actions carry consequences, and this really affected Rachel. It's going to cause a stir.
I quit. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, Rachel's not having a good time. But yeah, here's Gabby. Let's see if it matches. Yeah, this matches this, what she's wearing here. This is the original kind of Gabby footage they used with Logan. But we know that she's sitting down with Rachel. But hey, who's to say that both things don't happen too? The big question's going to be how it all plays out, which we don't know. But no matter what, Rachel's getting upset. But ultimately, it doesn't change the sleuthing. Doesn't change the final outlook of the men. You know, Meatball's not going to be a Final Four guy. Logan's not going to be a Final Four guy for either of them. The wild card theory, if you want to get crazy though, we've been missing a Final Four guy for Gabby. Now that I'm thinking about this, let's explore this strange possibility. I don't think it's going to happen. But, you know, we've ruled out Nate, and we've only got preview footage, really, of Jason, Johnny, or Eric as being potential Final Four guys. Here's the crazy theory. Logan is the secret Final Four guy for Gabby. And production has just completely removed any trace of Logan footage to try and mess us up. Who thinks that? I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I think he's gone. I think it'd be pretty wild for Gabby to I don't know, to see how Rachel is doing and decide to keep him, especially after already accepting the fact that he was a Rachel person, letting him go even before the week 3 rose ceremony when they both kissed Logan and she let Rachel give him a rose. I think maybe she'd already mentally started to let him go. So I don't know about that, but that could be that mystery Final Four guy. It could also be that Gabby decides that she only wants to bring 3 men to hometowns too. That's a possibility. If we're talking conspiracy theories now, but that would be interesting. And why did we rule out Nate? If you see this the shot at the very top left of these group of date shots, it's a crying shot, very upset shot in Amsterdam. We know next week they're going to Belgium, so the week after that they must be going to Amsterdam. That's looking to be the pre-hometowns, the time when you're deciding who's getting a hometown. And here in Amsterdam, which I double confirmed was Amsterdam, with this clock tower shot, and this crying shot here. We always see a pre-hometown one-on-one elimination, almost always, and it's very upsetting. Sometimes it's with a fan favorite, which makes it even worse. I think Gabby has decided that she's not ready to be a mother. Nate is a dad, girl dad. But I think Gabby's made the decision that, you know what, she isn't ready, so I've got to let him go now, before hometowns, before I meet his daughter, and that takes things to a whole new level, or makes it even worse when she, doesn't give him a rose after meeting his daughter. So there you go. Could be Logan. Could be Logan. I haven't seen any footage of Rachel in Mexico, so I'm starting to think maybe she picks someone and leaves after her hometown. There is footage of Rachel in Mexico. We've got Avon here with her and Tino in these 2 shots here that I've used for the final location stuff. So, as much as I love a good conspiracy theory, I do think she will be going through hometowns and fantasy suites. With her, I think her final for this graphic is originally from before the season. So that's why there was that Jordan V shot there. We know that doesn't happen. But Tino, Zach we know, hometown. Tino, Zach, Avon, with Tyler being the hometown elimination most likely. Otherwise, it would have to be Zach as the other one. That's just not happening. And Rosie, thank you for the super chat. Would you ever interview contestants between seasons or after they're eliminated? Or is that too spoilery? Thanks for everything. I would have no problem if a contestant wanted to have an interview on the channel or something like that, because they're under contract, so they're not gonna. They are legally bound to not just spoil anything. So we could try to sleuth out or suss out or trick them into giving us a spoiler. But I don't know. I prefer to just stick to the previews because that's the fun of it. I mean, if it were to happen, naturally somewhere else, it becomes big enough that we could potentially use it in the videos and stuff like that. But I'd be happy to. I think it's so contained though. The contestants and their contracts that it's rare to see a contestant on contract while a season is airing talk to like someone like me, and not an official Bachelor affiliated podcast or something like that. But hey, if you know any contestants who want to talk and are okay to do that, send them my way. I'd be happy to. Why not? What was Zach's date? Zach's date was last week. Was the movie date, but also what we're talking about here. This one. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Where is it here? It's in here in the hot tub there. That's in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam. There's a big windmill shot as well. So that's going to be a pre-hometown. His second one-on-one. But that's also really common. That's usually, typically, not always, but typically the first time we see someone getting a second one-on-one in a season right before hometowns. But we also were able to sleuth out in the season preview breakdown him here on a hometown date. This orange, it says Orange City, the fire department. He's from Anaheim, and Orange is right by Anaheim. So there you go. If you're talking about him this episode, he was on a very French date where he choked Rachel. Yeah. So Quincy's going to be amazing in Paradise. Yes, it's going to be a very interesting. If Quincy is in Paradise, I am certain that Aaron is also going to be in Paradise again after everything that happened on Clayton's season, where they had the rumors of Aaron and Genevieve getting together. For sure, both of them are going to be in Paradise as a potential couple. And then Quincy showing up, being the union leader of his season, could be an interesting battle between the two. And poor Quincy, he's gonna have to go another few months before he finally gets laid after a year and a half telling Rachel and Gabby, could be one of you two that breaks the spell, breaks the streak. Sorry, Quincy, you're gonna have to wait. But we are getting now to the end of the hour. I'll answer a few more questions in chat, but otherwise gotta end things and get to bed, get up nice and early to get to the recap video tomorrow. So can lay that out, get it up on YouTube as quick as possible. Do we really think Rachel will quit? Absolutely not. We know she's not going to quit. She's got end game footage of her Mexico. She's not quitting at all. They throw that in to make it more dramatic, and I'm sure like she might have in the moment said that, like, I want to quit, but she's not going to quit. Absolutely not. No way, no how. Absolutely not. Yeah, definitely final 3. Any picks for next Bachelor? I will say one thing I said before. If this man is in my video on just Meet the Men video, when we didn't know anything about the men, Zach, if he doesn't win, I had said something like he's got a connection with other contestants, and usually when you've got a connection with other contestants, like I think Tia was a connection, knew Rachel. They're like contestants who know other contestants. Andrew S. and Clay, I think, are cousins or something like that, and get in the show, are often producer darlings. They know the deal. Producers like them. They're connected. They know the Bachelor world. Zach knows someone from the show. I can't remember who it was. I'll have to go back and check that video. The Meet the Men video on that. Maybe the producers like him enough that they'd want him for the next Bachelor, and we know he makes it far, so think there that could be that. We'll see. It's so hard to tell early. We talked before about Nate. That we obviously all think Nate's a great guy, but will it happen? I don't trust the producers on that one. But it's so early because, and I see it time and time again with seasons, there becomes like this person for Bachelor or Bachelorette, but as we get down to the final 4, final 3, final 2, that's when the really serious discussion begins. Usually, I know we had Clayton, who was top 100 on Michelle's season, still got it. Katie on Matt James's season. I think there were a lot of extenuating circumstances that led to those controversial picks that won't be happening. And of course, if there are no good picks, there's always paradise. We'll see. So there could be some paradise storylines that lead to it. What about the twins from night 1 for double Bachelor? What about we have 3 bachelors? 3 bachelors. And it's like a worst of the worst season. So we get like Juan Pablo, Peter, and Clayton. Sorry, Susie. We'll pull him. We'll pull him out of that relationship. 4. We'll get another bachelor thrown in there too. 4. Let's do it for maximum chaos. Ari, we'll get Ari in there. I know he's got Lauren and he's got a family, but or we'll get Juan Pablo, Peter, and Grandpa John. It'll be worst of the worst of the worst, and plus Grandpa John, who we love. How big of a chance is it that this multi-Bachelorette thing is just a one-time thing, and they realize how much of a cluster this season is? I don't suspect they'll be doing this again anytime soon. I don't suspect that. I think this was mostly a spice it up season, and regardless of how well the season is received by the end of it, they won't be doing this for The Bachelor. They're going to be going to a single Bachelor for sure. I would be shocked if they do a double Bachelor one. But I don't know. Yeah, and someone's saying like they've done the double Bachelorette before, but they that was like that was the season, Caitlin Bristow season. It was only for like one episode. They're not even going to do that, I don't think, ever again. I think it's going to be back to the one. Claire and Tayshia was also different. That was halfway through. You know, I would think that it's more likely we would see a Claire / Tayshia situation again than a double Bachelorette or Bachelor or whatever, because like that would only happen if like someone quit halfway through or there was an incident or something like that. I think it's more likely that someone has to leave for some reason or for an emergency or whatever than it is that they decide to do a double again. But thank you everyone for coming out, chatting, talking about the show. For anyone there who's just lurking, whatever, as long as you're here, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. It's time for me to hit the hay so we can get a good time on the recap video tomorrow. Keep your eyes peeled for that tomorrow afternoon sometime, hopefully early, please. Recap video is going to be coming out, and then an extensive preview breakdown on Wednesday, where we're going to talk about what we already talked about with the preview, but go into much further detail. And there is always something that changes from here to that preview. A shot that matches up with some other shot that maybe leads us to something new to talk about, a new sleuthing thing. Thanks to Think Story for coming out, moderating. Really, really appreciate it. Hope everyone has a good night. And until next time, Bachelor Fan Take out.